Welcome back. I'm Brian Hayes. I'm a Salesforce and Pardot consultant with Rotive. We're an official Salesforce partner, and we teach small businesses how to automate their processes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Zapier to submit a Pardot form handler. So the first question is, why would you want to do that? There's actually lots of use cases for this, and it really comes in handy. Because Zapier connects to so many other systems, you can use an outbound webhook from Zapier to submit essentially a Pardot form. In this case, it's a Pardot form handler because we don't really need to use your interface. It's all happening behind the scenes. But once that form handler is submitted, you can do everything else you're used to within Pardot. Completion actions, dynamic lists, engagement programs, all that great stuff. And so it gives you a way to integrate Pardot with other systems without having to use the Pardot API and while treating that action as a form submission. And the vast majority of the time, that's what we want anyways. When people talk about integrating a separate system with Pardot or another marketing automation tool, it's usually some sort of form. Either they signed up for a webinar or they filled out a lead form on Facebook or something along those lines that just happens to happen outside of that marketing automation tool. So with Pardot form handlers and Zapier, we can take whatever that external activity is and have that show up in Pardot as a form submission. So the way we're going to do that is with two things. First is, of course, is a form handler. You have to create that. The second is creating a Zap within Zapier that uses an outbound webhook to trigger that form handler. So let's start with the form handler. I'm in Pardot. Click on the Content tab here and then select Form Handlers on the left. Click Add New Form Handler, and I'm just going to call this Zapier Test. You can then associate that form handler with a campaign. And beneath that, you can add any completion actions that you'd like and any form fields that you'd like to submit or capture. So in addition to email, which is always required, I'm going to add first name and last name. So as you add these additional fields, pay attention that you can select the external field name. So this is going to be different oftentimes depending on what system is submitting this form handler. And it's whatever that other system calls the first name field. So sometimes it's first underscore name, sometimes it's first name, no underscore, sometimes it's F name, etc. I'm just going to put first name in there for now. If we need to change this later, we could. And then I'll do it again for last name. Now I'm unchecking the required box here because if something gets submitted and not all of the values are there and they're required, then the form is going to fail to submit. And most of the time with form handlers, I don't want that to happen. Even if I only have partial data, I still want to capture that partial data. And under completion actions, if I wanted to have an autoresponder email or to add them to a list or assign them anything like that, I could do that right here. Referring URL and error location, I'm going to leave those as is for now. And then hit Create Form Handler. Actually, edit the form handler one more time. The other thing that we'll want to do is check the box for kiosk or data entry mode. Because we're going to have Zapier submitting this in the background, the user isn't actually getting forwarded through the form handler. So there's no cookie for us to capture and associate with this person. So make sure that checkbox is checked and then hit Save. Now that we have the form handler, you can see that we have this endpoint URL right here. That's what we're going to use to submit against. So in Zapier, we're going to come back and we're going to use this endpoint URL in that outbound webhook. All right, now let's jump over to Zapier, hit Create Zap. And the triggering event in the Zap is going to be different depending on what your use case is. Really common to use Facebook lead forms. Also common to use all sorts of other, third-party database tools, webinar tools, that kind of thing. In my case, for the purpose of this example, I'm going to use Salesforce. But if you only have one Salesforce org, that wouldn't really be necessary. But this is another method you could use to send leads from one Salesforce instance into somebody else's Pardot instance or into their Salesforce instance. I've seen this used before when one company is developing and capturing leads for another company. And if the other company is using Pardot, using an outbound webhook like this can be really easy, really beneficial for sending that lead over to their customer. It replaces them having to send an email with the lead information and then having that manual entry later. So I'm going to use Salesforce as my trigger, but again, this is going to be completely dependent on what your use case is. The important thing is when we get to the action, and that's where we'll set up the webhook. Okay, once you've got your trigger configured, now we can set up the action. So this is where it actually gets interesting. Go ahead and choose webhook. You can search for it here. It is one of the premium actions from Zapier, so I think you need to have one of their paid plans to get access to this. And then for the event here, we're going to choose post. Go and hit continue. And under post, the first thing it's asking us for is a URL. That is going to be our endpoint URL. If we come back to our form handler, go ahead and copy that, paste it into our URL here. And then the payload type is going to be a form. Now there's other payload types here for outbound webhooks, but ours is pretty simple. So we're looking to just submit a form. And then for the data here, this is what's going to be submitted to that URL. And under the first part of the data, that's that external field name that we set up. And the one on the right is the actual data point that we're pulling from our trigger. So let me add a couple more here. So the first one we've got is email, because of course that's required. And then we also have first name and last name. Now these are external field names. So if we come back here, look at our form field mappings, you can see it's right there on the left-hand side, first name, last name, and those are completely changeable. That's what I happen to set in this particular case. And on the right, we're selecting a data point from the trigger. So in my case, I'm having Salesforce trigger this outbound form handler, and the object that's triggering on is a lead. So I'm going to pull the email field from the lead, and then we'll do the same thing for first name and last name. There's no reason to stop here at just these 3 data points. If you wanted to capture more information, just make sure that you add those additional form field mappings here first, and then in that Zap, you can add additional fields to be passed into that form from this webhook setting right here as well. Wrap request in array, that's going to be a no. File, we're not submitting any sort of file to this form. Pardot wouldn't be able to capture it anyways. And where it says unflatten, go ahead and choose no as well. And then we don't have any authorization on this form handler. It's just that URL. If that gets submitted, then that data gets captured. You can skip headers as well and then hit continue. So now we can test and see if this form handler is going to work. So I'm going to hit test and review. And right now it's sending that request to our form handler endpoint URL. So it says a request was sent. If we come over here to Pardot and hit refresh, and then you can see that we've got this new prospect underneath our submission table on this form handler. And that's the Brian lead, Hayes lead test that we got from Zapier that just got submitted through our form handler. If you're happy with it, go ahead and hit publish and then you're live. Zapier is such a flexible tool that this really helps you extend the different sorts of data sources you've got for Pardot. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and click subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks for watching.